Okay, so continuing on, municipals of South Dundas public meeting for Wednesday, June 19th. This is the opportunity for public input or comments for on the strategic plan. So if anybody has a comment, please step forward to the mic so we can have it recorded. We're taking notes, and just state your name and just where you're from within the community or outside the community, so we have an idea where you're from. So open it up to anybody in the community.
Just for clarification, we're just going to receive the comments. We're not here to debate or anything like
Correct,
that, right? Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, if there's a question, we can answer a question, but yeah, no, it's about taking input and then, getting it into our plan or discussing it or adding it on for sure. Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to clarify.
yeah, no, good question on that for sure.
Good day, my name is James Guest. I have just recently, about 3 years ago, moved into this community. My background was military, and every time I ever heard the words mission statement, it always referred to whose mission it was. Is this mission statement you're coming up with the mission statement for the board and the administrators within the offices here?
So we developed, let's just.
And the rest of my question is, if it is, then why don't we see the words transparency and, what's the other one goes with that? Transparency and accountability. And any sort of a mission statement, I think those are important things. And that's just something to think about.
Yeah, no, thanks, James. I'll just make one comment on that was, we did do a public survey, so we did take information from the public survey as well. So, yeah, so it's the community and the board and the staff's idea of mission statement. But
Thank you.
good feedback. Thank you for that, James. Other comments, anybody?
Good evening, Mayor Brown. I'm just curious. I've been a resident of South Dundas since 1981, and I've always heard about the beauty of this area. That's why my father moved here, because of all the opportunity. I was curious. Do you guys have plans to monetize the waterfront? Like anything that could be set up down there to encourage people to come and maybe have picnics and barbecues? And I'd also be curious, who do I speak to in regards to the investment for investors? Do you guys have an investment group?
Yeah, so, on the waterfront, so we do have two waterfront committees, one in each community of Morrisburg and South Dundas, and they meet jointly. So that's the group that organize or promote events back through the council. The team, so things within the waterfront could go through, the Councillor Vino and his committee. You take ideas through to them and activities.
Yeah, so both waterfront committees here in Morrisburg both accept delegations, and since I've been doing it, I haven't had one yet. So I would really like to, if you have some input,
yes,
we'd love to hear it.
It's an ideal location for festivals.
Yeah.
Like so many people. I'm also vice president of the African Caribbean Cultural Society, so I see a lot of people. When they find out I'm from Morrisburg, they're always asking, well, do they have this? Do they have that? Would they be open to this? And I'm like, well, I can ask.
Good. Can I get your name? I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Marcus Grant.
Marcus Green. Thanks, Marcus.
Could we get your contact info afterwards?
Yeah,
so we can set that up?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely have delegation or waterfronts and get them all rolling on activities. And as far as investments, our CIO and our economic development people can reach out to you for sure.
There's land on the other side of the waste treatment that's available?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the tin mills.
Marcus. Any other comments? Comments from staff as well. What we put together. We had a training event. Okay, well, yeah. Come on.
ahead.
I was just gonna say from staff too, if there's any inputs or comments, I'll greatly take those.
My name is Jan Saunders. I'm the owner of Seaway Crafters Guild. Something that's vitally important to business now is high-speed internet. Is it on the docket? Is it in the works? It attracts business. If you don't have high-speed internet, it makes it very difficult to do web commerce, right? So,
Yeah, no, it is part of the Eastern Ontario region for that, but I think we should make that an activity line that we discuss further detail, so that's good input for sure. I know we have that at some of our rural areas that don't have a lot of broadband, so I think that's something we should add to our action plan based on,
yeah,
we've heard that
because I
feedback before.
mean, it makes education opportunities for
Right.
younger people, connects older people with their distant families. So, but when you got dial-up and you get throttled back at 6 o'clock, you're like, oh my god, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure. No, we can add that as in our actions. Understand what we have today and how we can do better, I guess.
No, it really is a fair point. I mean, the expansion of high speed and fiber is very important to us, so that is something we should probably focus on here as well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, I think that there's a place for that for sure.
Yeah,
and
I
us
don't know
to
how
keep-
you're gonna do it, that's what.
Yeah, no, good, yeah, fair point for sure. We'll make sure it's on that plan. Clerk LeBrun?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Brown, through you. So we do have a delegation, coming to our July 17th council meeting, and it's, Rogers, and they will be presenting, their plan to expand their wireless network in, South Dundas. And there's also a public meeting, that they've, sent notices to, will be on June 29th. So I can connect with you after the meeting if that's something you want to attend. I can share the details with you.
Cool. Any other comments, inputs?
Don't be shy.
Manager Hyman?
So I can elaborate a little bit more on the high-speed question that was just posed. So through the Infrastructure Ontario program, they've introduced what they're calling the Accelerated High-Speed Internet Program, and they're focusing out in the rural areas for bringing fiber. That's why if you've noticed, you've seen new poles installed on Coons Road, Snowbird Road. Anyways, they're focusing on said roads to kind of connect the rural to the high-speed world through the fiber world. So I'm receiving numerous, I'm the Director of Transportation, so I look after the roadside. So I'm receiving numerous drawings on roads that they're implementing through that program. So that is another step forward for South Dundas. They are in North Dundas, they are in South Stormont. They're coming this way, but it's focusing on the rural area, not so much in the villages of Morrisburg or Iroquois or even Williamsburg. So over time it will get there. It's just with the fiber side, it's just not there yet, but they are coming this way. So just thought I'd offer a little bit more information on that.
So again, that should probably be a focus of our council is to try to drive that. So we can,
Yep. Yep,
it's very good.
that's good.
If we want business.
Yep, yeah, I know. Yes.
I have 3 internets in my place and it still sucks.
Perhaps, Mayor, that could be part of our growth corridor,
Mhm.
that section,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
can't establish a new growth corridor if you don't have the
Yep.
infrastructure, so maybe in that section.
Cool.
Hi, my name is Sandra Dobry. I'm a member of this community and I've lived in Morrisburg now for almost 35 years. I agree with most of the statements that are in here. It is a great place to live, there's no doubt about it. But I really don't think I could give any additional comment on the report itself. The statements are generous and kind and all the positive thoughts of it, but for me there isn't enough detail to be able to say it's a good strategy or not. And the one item that's missing from all of this is the price tag, which always makes a difference. And how exactly are you going to cover that price tag? Is it through federal payments? Is it from provincial payments? Is it fundraising? You know, it's all very important to have all that information. So it's like when you ask someone are you in favor of world peace? The only answer is gonna be yes. So I just wanted to say, it's a good beginning, but I find it very high level, and there's really not enough need for me to comment beyond that. Thank you.
Yeah, cool, thank you for that. Just a comment, yeah, totally understood that these are the pillars to work from, and then to drive our work, so the price tag comes from, our budgeting, right, in our budgeting sessions on what we can afford on a yearly basis, but these are the activities on where we wanna improve on as well, right, thinking of those things, but yeah, no, definitely, and I think as actions become, or the words become actions, statements, then we'll see, more details on the work ahead, but understood the comment for sure.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Emily Moss. I spent my formative years here in Morrisburg, lived away for 2 decades, and then moved back last year, raising a young family here. Very happy to be back. Thanks for all the work so far. Just a couple of questions about the business vision you have for Morrisburg, or the economic development of the businesses in town. There's a comment of, I think, 4 to 6 businesses by 2026. A business can be a sole proprietor out of a home, it can be a national franchise that opens next to Tim Hortons. Do you have a vision for what the future of Morrisburg looks like as we grow the business landscape here?
So what, what type of business? Yeah, so I mean, certainly, what becomes available.
Mm-hmm.
So we do know a lot of companies have scorecards, right? And they'll only come to an area, when those scores meet a specific trigger, right? So from a franchisee or business, then they kind of go hand in hand on the growth of residents. Come new business.
I can add a bit more context.
Sure.
Some of the small towns that I've spent time in prior to moving back to Morrisburg had very different approaches to their growth. I can think of most recently outside of Ottawa, we can take Almont, if anyone's familiar with, that very much prioritizes a homegrown, no big box stores, keep everything kind of local and really optimize the friendly feeling of the town. Versus Carleton Place, which has embraced more of a suburb feel, a lot more box stores, very different approach to growth. So I'm just wondering if there is a vision, or if you do see yourselves prioritizing one direction over another, because it does influence the type of businesses that you would be willing to attract or accept.
So we have not, and we're going to take public opinion on that over the next 30 days.
Sure.
So that's good. So this is a good comment on the question we should ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another piece of feedback based on the brochure documentation,
Yeah.
the page that references diversity and inclusion, I would recommend that we include some photos that may show a bit more diversity of skin color, ethnicity, other than just there's diversity in age, but maybe showing some women playing hockey, just a bit more diversity and inclusion, or representation of the retired folks playing with the children, or a merchant, diversity of businesses that already do exist in town, so merchants with their patrons, that type of thing, as opposed to what's theirs, those focus perhaps.
Very good. Yes.
Thanks so much.
Good feedback. Thank you for that. Any other comments? Any comments from staff? Final comments from council team?
Thank you, Mayor Broad. No, I love hearing all the feedback. Certainly, we can get into a little bit more details on our plan, and I think that is kind of important for us, because if we want to show the public what our measurables are, we should maybe try to expand this a little bit. So I really appreciate all the input that's been provided, but I also want to say thank you to the people who put this together, because I think it is really a good draft, and there's a lot of hard work. I mean, we did spend a couple of sessions already going through this, so I think there has been a lot of hard work by a lot of people pull this together. So I just want to say thank you to staff for pulling this together. Thank you to the people for actually showing up. We should have more public meetings. This is our biggest house here. So yeah, I just look forward to listening to our committees and getting
More
some
feedback.
comments back and feedback from our committees to refine this and getting this actually publicized, so, thank you.
Just on the business piece, cause I really liked Emily's comment there. I think we need to look at, you know, exactly what type of business we want, like she mentioned, and what goes with that is we can look at our strengths of whether it's our geographic location, you know, between Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto, the 401 corridor, the Seaway, and that's more industrial looking, but then also look at the strengths of our population, or like our populace that we have here, our workforce, and then also what the community wants to see for businesses, because, you know, we can have distribution centers like Cornwall and Lost Villages, or not Lost Villages, Long Sault, Prescott, or not. We can go a different direction too. So I think that's a very good point, that we really need to nail down what kind of business that we do want here, and then we can focus on attracting that particular business. So we should be looking at different things.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, absolutely. Councilor Lynn?
Thank you, everybody who's given the comments tonight. I wasn't exactly sure what we were gonna expect in the comments. Everything's been very positive. Everybody who was up tonight, I would like to have them working on our side if possible. A lot of great feedback there. Whenever we did our wastewater rate capacity study, we realized that we're really set up very good here for future growth. And I don't know if everybody realizes exactly how good we have it here. We were at a conference, I think it was the Good Roads Conference, we were at back in April, end of April was, and we saw municipal groups from all over the province going in for delegations to cabinet ministers, looking for money for water plants, wastewater treatment facilities, and it was just one after the other, after the other, after the other, and that just got me to realize just exactly how good set up we are here. So I don't know if everybody knows that, but it's only good from here.
Excellent, thank you.
And just to expand on that, Councillor, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The issue though, and it goes back to the comments about the cost. We've got it in-house, but we need to get that water and that sanitary sewer pipes to somewhere so we can kind of grow. And that's really where the provincial government needs to step up and provide some funding to help us do that. I mean, we know we can go to the east, we know we can continue going to the west, so it all stems back from, yeah, we have the capacity, we need the money to grow, and that's where we, you know, Mayor Broad and I and the council needs to continuously visit MVP Nolan Quinn's office and get us on the books for some funding to help us with that growth as well. So I agree with what you're saying. It is expanded. So.
Councilor Ward?
I'll just say my final piece here. So I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Maybe you didn't want to share some of your feedback, but hopefully you'll share it with staff. You can always email. I assume that the email's up on the website, so you can certainly share it at that time. And hopefully that the people listening or watching in the future can share their feedback as well. I think it's really important that as a community that you do provide your feedback. Council listens to you, but we can only listen to what is said to us. So if you're not telling us what you want, it's really hard for us to know where we can go next as a community. And I think community connections are super important, and I think that's highlighted well in our document. I really appreciate the feedback. There's definitely some ideas we didn't think of, and that's why these sessions are extremely important. So again, thank you for attending. Thank you to staff for putting this together, and thank you for attending the multiple sessions that it took to get to this document. I think to the one comment from Sandra, you know, it doesn't seem like it contains a lot of information, but Mayor Broad, what he hasn't shown you, what you can't see right now, is the endless amount of documents that staff have basically taken it and made it smaller. So maybe we can share some of that information so people can see that.
Yeah,
finite details that we had talked about. One of the things I wanted to mention too, and to Councillor Smith's point, you know, we're in a really good position right now, but as someone who knows that can quickly change, and to Ms. Morin's point of growth needs to be controlled, and controlled growth in the right spot is what we really need. We need to be careful too, and we need to plan for the future, right? So we might be in a good spot now, we can attract all the development we want, but what are we gonna do? And to your point about reinvesting that development, that tax-based growth, that's something that maybe we should get a lot of feedback from the public. Where do you wanna see that tax-based growth reinvested to? Do you wanna see it reinvested in infrastructure? Do you wanna see it reinvested in service level increases? Because at some point, we probably won't be in that position. We probably won't have good infrastructure. So something to keep in mind. I think hopefully you guys can give us some feedback on that, but I really appreciate everyone's attendance, and I really appreciate council working on this together too. It was really great exercise for all of us, I think.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, so final words as we'll wrap up tonight's meeting. Yes, come on. Mike.
I'm Mike Thompson.
Yeah, Mike.
I'm just wondering, the committee, who's on the committee? Are any businesses
Which committee?
for this whole,
So, yes, so
for the strategic plan?
right, so, we all are, we all are, so you mean, one committee, that certainly will work, about, you know, as input to it is the Economic and Tourism Committee, right, which, you know, on that committee is Jeff Pops from Ross Video, Ryan Gilmore from Gilmore Pharmacy, Donnie Bowes from Upper Canada Playhouse, Cindy Alt Peters, right, former chamber, so that's what, you know, that group, but it's really, you know, and the committee, all the other committees have input to the council, so it's all, everybody's combined input.
But
Is where it comes
any
from.
public members, like taxpayers?
Well, they're all taxpayers.
They're all taxpayers. There's no committee, we've taken input, there's no committee that's designed this, we just taken all the input.
Yeah, well,
From
this
the
is the first
survey.
I've heard about
Yeah.
this.
So, we did surveys in the fall.
I remember the survey.
Right, so that's public opinion, right? So during the survey, you answer 50 questions of all the things you wanna see, and then we compile that data into what
Like,
people wanna see.
Can someone like myself get on the committee?
There is no,
There's no strategic plan committee. What Mayor Rod is saying is we're gonna bring this plan that staff and council created. We're gonna bring that to our economic and development committee for specific feedback, and our waterfront committees and other committees that's been generated, they're committee of councils that you used to sit on the Mooresburg Waterfront Committee years ago,
That's right.
which was a committee of council.
Yep.
They're the committee of councils we're referring to get some more feedback. So
Okay.
we're having this general public, and then we're specifically going to the committees that's already been developed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anybody can have any input, we're open to any input for sure.
Well,
For sure.
it was well written, I didn't understand it. It wasn't down to my education level.
Right. Right, so I think the next phase of the process is, we wanted input on, this is, you know, are these the pillars? Do we want operational excellence, right? Yes or no, right? If we do, then let's show all the actions we can do to have operational excellence, right? Do we wanna have sustainable growth, right? Controlled sustainable growth. Yes, we do. Okay, so what are all the actions? So that'll be like the next piece that we'll go and stop and start working. Now, we've done some of the work, like the water study. We felt that was really important, so we already have done that. So those will be the next pieces, but we wanted to make sure that, you know, this is, you know, what we felt from the survey and what the pillars where we're gonna work from. That's how it kind of works as the process for sure.
Fair enough.
But I think your input is on the actions, right? And we're totally open to actions, and like our economic and development committee is open to the public, so we'll send you an invite if you're interested in coming to the meeting.
So I've already been to one meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
But
That was
that,
with the helicopter.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. You came around. Yeah, so for sure. So
Okay,
definitely take input at any time. Feedback is welcome for sure.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. But thanks for clarifying that particular piece. Yes, I kind of described what the next steps were moving forward. So certainly, you know, we've posted the document. We want to take feedback over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And our July 12th, I think, is our next, July 17th council meeting. We'll come back and approve what the pillars are, and then we'll start to work on the action. So over the next 3 weeks, any input onto that, you know, some of the comments, we're gonna add some new verbiage, and it's a dynamic plan, so it's not static that we're gonna print 1,000 hard copies and this is, you know, what we're gonna live by. It's dynamic, right? So as we'll move along and we'll focus on, we have some work to do on what type of business we want, right? There's work to do to create all the actions underneath that, and those are what you're gonna see at future council meetings or announcements, right? Are the actions that go with the actions that go with the pillars that we've listed in.
I don't think he likes you, Jason.
Yeah, I know. Here's an agreement. Very good. Okay. Well, last comment will be thank you everybody for attending tonight. Thanks for staff, council. Thanks for everybody in attendance for your comments and coming tonight. And look forward to our next steps in our strategic plan. So good night.